Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Well, welcome to the program today. Before we start our coverage of the ongoing war between the Russian Federation and the Ukraine, I wanted to take a minute and address the opening ceremonies of the Olympics held in Paris, France. Yes, Paris, France. Now, I imagine most of you have had the opportunity to take a look at the opening ceremony. If not, I will give you a stationary photograph of the debauchery that was on display. Now, this large heifer right here is the Christ child, Jesus Christ. Yes, this big heifer is Jesus Christ. I don't have any idea what the purpose of this is, and to be honest, don't really care. But clearly, this was a way to target and inflame Christians. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. This is what this was for. Now, just imagine for a minute, if there was a Muslim or Islamic derogatory themed show, Durka. How would Paris look today? What do you think? Would Paris exist? Would Paris be burning? What are your thoughts? I'm thinking Paris is not a happy place if a comparatively derogatory themed show was put on display in Paris, France. So again, if you haven't had the opportunity to see what this was all about, and it's actually worse than this, much worse. And again, just a way to continue to divide and cause civil discord, and it will continue. But ultimately, the question is why not this? And the short answer is this: fear. The powers that be that put on this show, this debauchery, fear the Muslims. They do not fear the Christians. So until there is some sort of kinetic activity in response to this sort of fiasco, these will continue to occur. And it will just get worse and worse and worse. Now, on to the coverage of the ongoing war between Russia and the Ukraine. We have what appears to be many envelopment and current operational activities by the Russian military that is causing great concern within the general staff of the Ukrainian armed forces. Let's go back to what would essentially be July 10th. And we can show you, the viewer, exactly what kind of this area just northwest of Avdiivka. This is one of the most active areas of operations by the Russian military. And let's go forward and watch what has happened over the course of about 2 weeks. Now, you'll notice multiple envelopment operations occurring in this area. We have reports that the Ukrainians have taken a great number of losses. And you can see here almost a complete envelopment. And then finally, whatever unit, probably a company-sized element in this envelopment, and then gone. And the Russians continue to push to the northwest and to the west. And it's just not in this sector. It is other sectors within the theater of operations. Now, additionally, it is anticipated that by the end of the year, going into 2025, the Russians will have about 700,000 troops deployed against Ukrainian forces. Right now, that number sets at about 600,000. And essentially, by the end of the year, the Russians will have 3 additional core battle groups operating against the Ukrainians. Now, what is that going to look like? Is that going to open things up? Will we see an increase in the tempo of operations? Difficult to say. I think right now the Russians are perfectly happy with continuing to use its air force to destroy the Ukrainian military and then continually to proceed forward, but without any major breakthrough. Again, as I've talked about before, it does not appear that the Russians are attempting to seize control of large amounts of terrain. They are seeking to degrade, destroy, and then eventually seek the capitulation of the Ukrainian military. Now, if that happens, obviously large amounts of territory would be gained by Russian forces. It doesn't have to be necessarily the fact that territory is changing hands. If we go back to World War I and we look at the disposition of forces between the Germans and the Allied forces in France, the German military was still on French soil. The French had not achieved a breakthrough and were not threatening any major Western German cities. But nonetheless, the Germans capitulated and essentially surrendered. I believe this is the method that the Russians are looking to achieve. A general war of attrition followed by the complete capitulation of Ukrainian forces. Now, that's going to be a bit more challenging because of the support of Western forces. So that is what we have for today. We are continuing to watch things on the ground. We are also continuing to watch what is happening in this continued culture war, this war against Western civilization, and that will continue as well. And we'll have more reports on that as well. So thank you for joining us today. More to come. As always, have a good day.